All right. So yeah, I want to talk about the OneOneTwelve project. Well, and the why and why we came to where we're at the moment. Most of this will probably be just a no-brainer to the people in this audience. I could tell you a story, but I'm not going to at this point, because the story I tell you about this 16-year-old individual who had 16 teeth taken out in theatre, that was just a comedy of error after error after error, just, would blow your minds. But what this does tell you is why the OneOneTwelve project matters, and why disability matters, because we all know disability matters. And, we can look at population estimates, and this is data that I bring up that most of you would be familiar with, but I bring it up because I fear that these numbers post a COVID world, and in whatever the next iteration of this is going to be, are going to go in a direction that we don't want them to go in. But, sadly, that's the reality of the world we live in. We've had many, we've had the Royal Commission into Aged Care. We've currently got the Disability Commission, which are great for all sorts of reasons, but they tell us what we already know. And I get quite frustrated when they say, oh, let's just put another report together. Let's just collect data. Let's just this, let's just that, because all these data collecting exercises don't tell us new information. And in fact, all they do is they just, in my mind, make me more frustrated, because all the money that's spent on doing these things, whilst a lot of them are really good, could be money that I think would be better spent in different formats, different forums. We know that people with a disability have a right to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health without discrimination on the basis of disability. And this is really the premise of OneOneTwelve, and this is why the OneOneTwelve initiative was brought together. Those of you who don't know who I am, I was a specialist in special needs dentistry at Melbourne Uni for many years, and ran the first training program for specialty training, which was, has been bounced all around the world, which is, wonderful and great. But, in 30 years of my career, I don't know that we've made that much of an inroad, other than, starting to get a conversation happening. But, we're still at a point now that we were at 30 years ago when I started on this journey. So whilst I've quit dentistry in some form or other and retired, I've now moved into the disability space, and that R word doesn't roll off my tongue anymore, because I'm quite passionate to try and make a difference in a different way. So the OneOneTwelve initiative is really about raising awareness and speaking out and being a voice for people who have no voice, which is a great line that Trudy, who's a very good friend of mine, talks about a lot. And so far in this journey, and I'll bring you to the website in a minute, but so far in this journey, we've been really fortunate to partner with Rotary MASH. And so so we have a Rorke's project under the Rotary banner, which means that all donations that come to the OneOneTwelve initiative are pretty much held by them, and we can only use those funds to service the oral health journey of people with disability. The OneOneTwelve initiative is really about getting dental practitioners, like one dental practitioner, to take on one person with a disability and manage their oral health for 12 months pro bono. So that's our overarching aim. And within that is embedded some continuing professional development, which I'll talk about in a minute. But it's really about raising awareness and having a different sort of conversation, and really getting people who haven't dipped their toe in the disability sector of managing people with disability from an oral health perspective to actually sort of give them the confidence to do that, and give them the support with mentor-mentee program that we're setting up, and a whole lot of other bits and pieces. We've also been, we're very well sponsored by Special Olympics. Our inaugural event, which I'll come to in a minute, which is where I'm going to be running 24 hours around the Box Hill Athletics track, the 11th and 12th of March, which is only 3 weeks away, which is a bit terrifying. We've got support from lots of sporting codes. So we've got the Essendon Football Club, we've got the AFL, we've got Cricket Victoria, Rugby Victoria, Melbourne Stars, Melbourne Rebels, coming on board and setting up things for the day to make it a really super day for people, so they don't just watch me going round and round a track, which is so boring. It's not funny. It's just like, no matter which way you go, that white line still looks the same whether you're going clockwise or anti-clockwise. We have been very fortunate to be filmed by the ABC, and hopefully a story will be coming up in the next week or so. Apparently I've got a gig on KISS FM. No idea what that means, but my events organiser tells me it's a different demographic because young people don't watch the ABC. We've also got support from the National Disability Service, the ADAVB, and the Australian New Zealand Academy of Special Needs. We've had great support from DOC, the Disability Oral Health Collaboration, and Inclusion Melbourne. And the Seat Project, Cameron and James are coming down from, because they get this space because they're very big into wheelchair rugby, and they're supported by the Suncoast Spinners in Queensland, and they're coming down to MC our event, which is super exciting. So, you know, whilst this event is the inaugural event, it's bigger than just this 24-hour run that we've got coming up.